The protagonist, introduced in the opening, is deeply affected by societal pressures. These pressures manifest in various forms, including expectations around career success, financial stability, relationships, and social status. From the very beginning, the protagonist feels inadequate and experiences self-doubt. They struggle with the idea that they cannot measure up to what society deems successful or happy, creating a sense of internal conflict. The protagonist has spent a significant portion of their life trying to meet these prescribed standards of success, but no matter how hard they try, they feel unfulfilled. This feeling of unfulfillment often emerges in various areas: career, relationships, and personal goals, leading them to question their worth and purpose. From childhood, they have been taught that happiness and success are tied to tangible accomplishments, like wealth, fame, and social approval. However, this belief gradually becomes a source of frustration, because these external benchmarks of success seem to trap them rather than fulfill them. The protagonist begins to internalize these external expectations, and over time, these beliefs shape their identity. They start to believe that something is wrong with them, because they have not achieved the expected milestones, such as a prestigious career, or the perfect social circle. These pressures intensify, creating a profound sense of being trapped by societal norms. The protagonist's journey foreshadows their eventual transformation. Initially, they follow society's rules and norms, believing that conforming will bring happiness. However, as the story unfolds, they begin to realize that true success and happiness lie not in conformity, but in rejecting these societal pressures and forging their own path. Throughout the protagonist's life, they are influenced by multiple external forces that shape their beliefs and values. These forces often represent societal expectations that push them towards certain goals. Family, often a source of love and care, can also be a force of pressure. Parents and other family members might have expectations about the protagonist's career, relationships, or social status. These expectations may come from a place of concern or love, but often lead to feelings of being judged or misunderstood. Despite their family's love, the protagonist feels as though they are constantly failing to meet the standards set for them. Friends' peer pressure plays a significant role in the protagonist's life. The friends or colleagues around them often have contrasting views on what success looks like. These peers might judge the protagonist based on their career achievements or lifestyle, making them feel as though they are falling behind or failing to measure up. This comparison fosters a sense of inadequacy and alienation. The protagonist begins to feel isolated because they have not reached the same milestones or achieved the same ideal that their peers have. Mentors, or teachers. In educational or professional settings, mentors or authority figures often push the protagonist to follow specific career paths. These figures emphasize traditional markers of success like wealth, prestige, or social influence. While their advice may come from a good place, it further exacerbates the protagonist's sense of being trapped. They begin to feel as though their true self is being suppressed in favor of meeting others' expectations. Society, larger societal norms, propagated by social media, advertising, and public figures, play an enormous role in shaping the protagonist's views on success. These platforms often promote an idealized version of success, centered around wealth, luxury, and popularity. The protagonist is bombarded with these ideals, constantly comparing themselves to them, and feeling inferior. Despite their efforts, they are never able to match these ideals, which makes them feel less than successful. All of these external influences create a narrow definition of success. Society dictates that there is only one right way to be happy or successful, and anyone who deviates from that path is seen as less than or a failure. The protagonist becomes trapped in this narrow definition, but over time, they begin to feel an increasing disconnect between their true desires and what society tells them they should want. The protagonist finds themselves in an ongoing internal conflict. On one hand, they feel the desire to meet societal expectations and gain the approval of family, friends, mentors, and society. They want to fit in, be loved, and be accepted. However, on the other hand, they begin to sense a growing sense of emptiness within themselves. No matter how much they achieve or conform to societal norms, they still feel unfulfilled. This creates a frustration that grows with time. They start questioning the value of external approval. The protagonist realizes that happiness and success cannot be measured by these external standards. Their growing frustration leads them to a pivotal moment of self-reflection. As they reflect on their life, they realize that following the path dictated by others has not brought them fulfillment. This leads to the understanding that they have been chasing goals that don't resonate with their true desires, and the internal conflict between meeting societal expectations and finding true happiness grows. This realization introduces the central theme of the story. You're not supposed to be happy or successful, and that's exactly why you will be. This paradoxical statement reveals a powerful truth. The protagonist has been conditioned to believe that happiness and success are reserved for a select few, but their journey begins when they reject this belief. The idea that they are not meant to be happy or successful becomes the catalyst for their transformation. They begin to recognize that the rejection of societal norms is the key to finding their own path to true success and happiness. The protagonist's journey is one of personal awakening. The rejection of societal expectations becomes the first step in their self-discovery. In embracing rejection, they begin to realize that true fulfillment comes not from meeting external standards, but from following their own heart and path. Through this realization, they begin to shed the weight of societal pressure and embrace authenticity. Before the protagonist undergoes this transformation, their life is marked by a series of setbacks in various areas. These failures, whether in their career, relationships, or personal growth, leave them feeling frustrated and trapped. Despite following the rules set by society, they find themselves stuck in an unfulfilling routine. In their career, the protagonist may be working in a job they dislike, staying only for the security it provides. They may be passed over for promotions, or feel as though they are not living up to their potential. Their romantic relationships might feel shallow, as they try to conform to an ideal of the perfect partner, rather than forming meaningful connections. Their personal growth has stagnated, as they push their own dreams and aspirations aside to meet the demands of others. They may feel that they are not living authentically, and their self-worth may be tied to external validation, rather than their own inner peace. Despite achieving outward success, the protagonist feels emotionally empty. They feel trapped by the very norms that are supposed to bring happiness. The frustration builds, creating a deep internal conflict, and the protagonist begins to question their identity. They wonder if they are the problem, or if they are simply living a life dictated by others' expectations. The breaking point occurs when the protagonist experiences a moment of personal failure, betrayal, or loss that shatters their belief in conventional success. This event forces the protagonist to confront the harsh reality that the life they have been living is not sustainable or fulfilling. This is a pivotal moment of transformation. Whether triggered by a personal failure, a betrayal, or a deep loss, this event shakes the protagonist's foundations. It makes them question everything they once believed about happiness and success. This crisis is emotionally charged, but it sets the stage for the protagonist's awakening. They begin to understand that true happiness is not found in following the prescribed path, but in breaking free from societal expectations and embracing their true self. In the shift that follows, the protagonist begins to embrace rejection as a necessary step toward personal growth. They reject the idea that failure and rejection are signs of weakness. Instead, they see them as opportunities for self-discovery. The catalyst for this shift might come from a mentor, an epiphany, or a moment of self-reflection. In any case, this marks the beginning of the protagonist's transformation, as they begin to let go of their need for external approval and seek fulfillment from within. The protagonist's thinking becomes revolutionary. They challenge the beliefs they have internalized about success and happiness. They begin to realize that rejecting societal expectations is not rebellion for the sake of rebellion, but a necessary step toward self-actualization. As they start to break free from the constraints of societal norms, they experience small but significant victories. These moments bring them closer to their true self, and the protagonist learns to appreciate the journey, rather than focus solely on the destination. As the protagonist embraces their true self, their personal growth continues. They begin to focus on inner development, rather than seeking validation from others. They experience small moments of happiness that are not measured by external achievements, but by personal milestones and inner peace. They discover the joy of living authentically and start to see fulfillment in things like pursuing their passions, forming meaningful relationships, and aligning their actions with their values. Through this process, the protagonist redefines what success means to them. Success is no longer about wealth, fame, or societal recognition. It becomes about living authentically, finding emotional fulfillment, and making choices that align with their true desires. This new definition of success brings them peace and satisfaction. The impact on others becomes evident, as the protagonist's transformation inspires those around them. Family, friends, and colleagues begin to see the value in rejecting societal expectations and embracing personal growth. The protagonist's journey has a ripple effect, encouraging others to question their own definitions of success and happiness. The protagonist becomes a role model for living authentically, and their story helps others find the courage to do the same. By the end of the story, the protagonist has reached their final transformation. They fully embrace their individuality and are no longer concerned with others' expectations. They have shed the weight of societal pressure and learned to live authentically. In doing so, they have found peace and fulfillment that comes from within. The central message is reaffirmed: you're not supposed to be happy or successful, and that's exactly why you will be. This paradoxical truth encapsulates the protagonist's journey. By rejecting the societal norms that once held them back, the protagonist finds true success and happiness, not because they conform to external standards, but because they embraced their true self. In the closing scene, the protagonist stands tall, at peace with themselves. They have achieved true success, not through wealth, fame, or status, but through authenticity, emotional resilience, and self-belief. The story ends with an uplifting message to the audience: reject external pressures, embrace your true path, and find fulfillment from within. This is a call to action, encouraging others to live authentically, just as the protagonist has.